In an unprecedented power move, President Vladimir Putin recently revealed to the world that Russia was in possession of 3 virtually unstoppable hypersonic nuclear-capable missile systems. As early as 2018, the Russian leader had boasted that, quote, their speed makes them invulnerable to current missile and air defense systems. Soon after, the claims became a reality when the Kh-47M2 Kinzhal hypersonic missile was deployed in Ukraine, marking the first time such a weapon was used in war and alarming spectators around the world. As the United States continues to struggle to develop its own hypersonic missiles, the attack seemed to point to Russia as the victor in the hypersonic race. However, careful analysis has shed new light on Putin's so-called ideal weapon. The Kh-47M2 Kinzhal, despite the bold claims from Russian propaganda, might not be a hypersonic missile after all. A new arms race. A new arms race is currently heating up between the world's superpowers, just as urgent and menacing as the one that shook the world to its core during the Cold War. This time, the parties are racing to develop the most powerful and undetectable hypersonic missiles on Earth. Science and engineering are breaching the limits of what was previously possible. At hypersonic speeds, materials melt, airflow grows chaotic, and budgets soar over the stratosphere. Nevertheless, the benefits of hypersonic missile technology have the potential to shift how warfare is fought. But there has also been a need to urgently develop advanced anti-missile systems capable of detecting, tracking, and taking down an incoming warhead before it reaches its target. A system such as Israel's Iron Dome has proved to be highly successful in intercepting short to medium-range missiles and keeping entire population centers safe from missile strikes. But intercepting an incoming missile is a complex endeavor, in which dozens of automated and manned systems must be executed in the span of mere seconds to successfully intercept a missile mid-air. The task becomes practically impossible when the inbound projectile is a hypersonic missile, flying at speeds over Mach 5 and able to maneuver in mid-air to fool any defensive interception attempt. Currently, no anti-missile technology is capable of defending against such new technology. However, Russia now claims to possess several hypersonic missile systems capable of carrying thermonuclear warheads. This assertion is sending chills down the spine of the Western world, with some experts fearing that a new Cold War could be brewing. A head-scratcher. In 2018, Russia announced it had invested a considerable amount of resources and time in developing high-end missile technology, to the point that, towards the end of 2021, President Vladimir Putin boasted Russia was a world leader in hypersonic missiles. The Russian mandatory emphasized the avant-garde hypersonic glide vehicle, which he depicted as, quote, impossible to intercept, with a range of over 6,000 kilometers. Likewise, he revealed the development of the Zircon hypersonic cruise missile and the latest Kh-47M Kinzhal hypersonic missile, which drew international attention following the invasion of Ukraine. In early 2022, the Russian Defense Ministry posted a video on social media claiming to have deployed a highly destructive Kinzhal, or dagger, on an arms depot in Delyatyn, southwest Ukraine. Impressively, the statistics were off the charts, as Russian officials allege the Kinzhal can hit a target as far as 2,000 kilometers away, and that it has a top speed of over 6,000 kilometers per hour. In addition, it can supposedly reach Mach 10 after being launched from MiG fighter jets. According to several military analysts, the objective is double-fold. On the one hand, it is a sign the Russian military is resorting to even more destructive weapons. On the other, it is an opportunity for the country to flaunt its latest developments, the ones they've bragged about for years. UK-based defense specialist James Bosbatinis reckoned it was unsurprising that Russia would report the use of hypersonic air-launched projectiles, as it sends a clear message to NATO. Even so, experts are skeptical. As Russia's first operational conventionally armed hypersonic weapon, many argue its deployment is a mere sign of showmanship, or an attempt to re-establish some momentum following the invasion. As an anonymous senior U.S. defense official expressed, quote, "It's a bit of a head-scratcher. Why would you need a hypersonic missile fired from not that far away to hit a building?" No game changer. Despite Russia's resolute claims, the Pentagon has done its own assessment of the weapon and the threat it poses to Ukraine and other NATO assets, ultimately arriving at a surprising conclusion. The Dagger system is derived from a Soviet-era projectile. As such, Western experts have a much clearer idea of the technology inside its hull, and has gone as far as assuring that the missile Russia claims will be a game-changer is not what is commonly regarded as a hypersonic missile. While technically any object that can move at least 5 times the speed of sound is considered hypersonic, the current definition of what entails hypersonic missile technology goes beyond the speed output of the projectile. To be considered a modern hypersonic missile, a warhead vehicle must maneuver at Mach 5 speeds and utilize either a glide or cruise system to approach its targets. A hypersonic glide vehicle uses high-velocity rocket boosters to send the warhead into space, where it travels to its target location. A glider is then deployed, and the warhead descends at hypersonic speeds towards its objective after re-entry. In contrast, cruise missiles never leave the atmosphere and use advanced propulsion systems called supersonic combustion ramjet, or scramjet, to propel the projectile in a horizontal trajectory. Scramjet is a very recent and secretly guarded technology, and only a few details about its operational functions are available. The Dagger does not use any of those systems, and is a modified version of the ground-launched short-range ballistic missile Kh-47M2 Kinzhal, upgraded with a guided system. The rocket achieved its hypersonic capabilities thanks to being air-launched from a MiG warplane already moving at supersonic speeds. If speed was the sole criterion, then all ballistic missiles in the U.S. stockpile would be considered hypersonic vehicles. Instead, the experts believe Russia is dramatically upselling the Kinzhal in yet another bluff attempt to boost its military standing. All things Russia. Among several theories for why Russia would deploy hypersonic missiles into Ukraine, one stands out. The superpower might be running out of options. As some experts have explained, the nation may have a low stockpile of precision-guided weapons to strike faraway targets. After the infamous strike on the depot, President Joe Biden confirmed the use of the Dagger, though he asserted Russia launched it, quote, "because it's the only thing that they can get through with absolute certainty." Starting on February 24, 2022, the Russian military launched over 1,100 missiles into Ukraine during the first few weeks of the invasion. Thus, Russian forces may have exhausted their supplies to reliably hit positions deep in the region. In contrast, some other plausible explanations include that Russia might be seeking leverage to negotiate with Ukraine. Moreover, as Biden suggested, Russia might even be increasingly frustrated with the defenders' notably successful response in air and missile attacks. An anonymous Western official told Politico, quote, "As all things with Russia, they could be signaling all of this, even if the main reason they used the hypersonic weapon was because they had little else to shoot." As Western allies discuss and share intelligence to determine Russia's position, they are becoming more convinced that, above all reasons to make such a strange move, the invaders are most likely exhausting their resources. Furthermore, it is not expected that Russia will launch any more hypersonic missiles in the near future, for the simple reason that they don't possess an abundance of them. The anonymous source concluded, quote, "It's really a significant sign of weakness. You only fire this thing if you're desperate." Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe to Dark Tech for the latest content about military developments and advancements of the 21st century. And make sure to give us a thumbs up and hit the notification bell to stay tuned.